All right. Welcome, everybody. We'll be starting, as you can see, in under 3 minutes. And it says 8:30 a.m. because I am in California. Here with William Bailey, who will be helping us go through this program today. And Bill, you're on the East Coast?
That's right. Almost lunchtime.
Yeah. So we're joining you from the U.S. Of course, the program is through IT Bangalore, and Simplilearn is headquartered in Bangalore. So we expect most of our audience is here from India, and that's what we're seeing. Chennai, Kerala, Pune, Andhra Pradesh, Ganjal. Look, I'm there. Is this live? Yes, Mr. Singh, this is live.
Or is it
Assam.
Memorex?
Yeah, that's the people of a certain generation in the United States used to see an ad that said, is it live or is it Memorex? New York. Bibi, Amritsar, Indore, Kurukshetra, Mumbai.
I know people from Ohio that
Yeah,
have operations in India and have done the tours through India.
yep.
It's not uncommon.
Goa, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, New Delhi, Patna and Bihar State, Haryana, all over India. And of course, as we mentioned, someone joining from New York. I am from Northern California. I'm joining from the San Francisco Bay Area. And Bill is joining from the East Coast. And we'll be starting in 5 seconds. Paracon. Okay. And we can. Oops. Oops. Come on. Apologies here.
But it's a pleasant clock.
Exactly. It's reminding me to bring up our presentation here. Great. So welcome everyone to our webinar. We're going to explore careers in cybersecurity with the Advanced Executive Program in Cybersecurity from IT Bangalore, delivered through Simplilearn. One of our premier instructors here, William Bailey, who is an expert in cybersecurity, and we'll have him introduce himself in a moment. But first, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing today. We'll be talking about the career field of cybersecurity. We'll discuss what this program offers and how it gets you job ready. And then I'll go through the enrollment steps, including a bonus offer, which is our gift to you for being here today. Oh, go back. Ah, getting ahead of myself here. All right. So put your questions in the Q&A function in Zoom, and we will get to those when we get to the Q&A. And I'm going to start with a poll of our audience here. So if you would all let us know how many years of experience you have, and you should see the poll widget on your screen right now. Are you currently studying for your degree, or are you in the workforce? And I'm just going to leave this open for about another 10 seconds. Go ahead and put your answers in the widget here. And I'll close in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the poll. And 60% of our audience are folks who are still at university or studying, and the rest of you are in the workforce. So we'll share with you how this program works and to whom it's targeted. And as I mentioned here today with William Bailey, and Bill, why don't you introduce yourself and give folks an idea of your background?
Sure. Happy to. Pleasure to be here today. We've had a few of these events. We've talked about the different programs. I have actually been training. I surprised someone that I've been training for Simplilearn. We passed the 10-year mark, and I think we hit 11. We're over 10 years, though. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, I say information security over 20 years. It gets hard to lose count. I came up through sort of the technical ranks, if you will, the hands-on technical people. And along the way, realized this thing about antivirus and security concerns. And so it sort of morphed into that, hey, let's go down this road of, we didn't even call it cybersecurity then, but it became cybersecurity. It also touches on privacy and risk. And I've been involved with the local chapters of ISACA, the Philadelphia area, New Jersey area. ISSA is another organization that I've been a board member of for many years. And as far as experience, what does he do other than teach classes? I've worked for insurance firm, multinational insurance firm for years. I developed a security, revamped and led the security program for a credit union for a few years. Did a lot of time consulting, which is then you get that experience. It's financial services, it's healthcare, it's retail, it's your utility, it's your marketing, your manufacturing, you name it, the U.S. government consulting. And you just get to see everything all over the place. And no matter where you are, you need cybersecurity. So,
Yeah, and that's kind of the theme of today's presentation, because we're going to be talking about the careers in cybersecurity and why it is such a vital and growing field. It's something that kind of touches everyone's lives, even more so since the pandemic, because people who were reluctant to use mobile applications or online banking or things like that kind of got forced into it, didn't they? You're on mute again, Bill. Sorry.
Well, that's always good at meetings where
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
like, you don't say something you don't want to say.
Right, exactly.
3 years ago, COVID-19 hit, and that was just crazy. Everybody got sent home. And it's funny is that, the CISOs, the CIOs, they say they haven't fully mitigated the new cybersecurity risks, because usually it is something that's ongoing. And then, of course, COVID-19 hit, and it just basically stop everything you're doing and now do this.
Yeah, and there was a quote from a webinar that I went to about 2 months after the pandemic started. An executive and whose name I haven't been able to track back down, but an executive from a venture capital firm who said, if they had told us that we would have to move everyone to work from home, we would have said, great, that will take 6 months and we'll need $10 million in budget. When it happened within 3 days with zero budget. And the corollary to that is it also happened with almost no consideration of the cybersecurity risk for that. So that's the world we live in today.
Well, yeah, there wasn't pre-allocated budget
Exactly.
because it was a crisis. A lot of vendors were actually pitching their solutions as we're going to give you the solution for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. I think was what I was seeing was they were saying, oh, you don't have if you don't have a solution for XYZ in place, we'll get you on board real fast in 2 months. Which was also really scary because if you think about it now, it's very hard to pull yourself away from that provider
Yeah.
once you've hitched your wagon. It's like, yeah, okay, you were able to get up and running in that emergency state, but now, what does that look like going forward? And did you introduce any new cybersecurity risks? And of course, March 19th of 2020 was sort of the big shutdown day for a lot of organizations. The closing of the doors.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be actually in China back then. That
Ah,
trip got canceled. Whoops.
yeah, well, possibly luckily because you might still be there. But the the other thing that's interesting from this particular slide is that 31% of the executives who were surveyed said that cyber criminals are a bigger threat than nation state actors. We always worry about, well, what if terrorists or some hostile nation affects our infrastructure, that type of thing. But that's not what really most of us live with day to day, because we live under a cybersecurity threat that's more immediate, in some ways, you know, more pernicious, right?
Oh yeah, the cyber criminals can be more. They're organized.
Yeah,
To be quite blunt, this is an organized effort because there's money there, right? There is money to be made being a cyber criminal. I've actually seen the videos where these cyber criminals will run a call center to provide customer service for you. So your nation states, they're going to call attention to you when there's some sort of a serious reason for them to attack you. Um, a lot of the retailers in the U.S., they're probably never going to see a nation state. Financial services, maybe, because it could be considered cyber warfare. But the cyber criminals, it cuts across the board to everybody, and because everybody will pay. Everybody has systems. And so it does, and it just, you don't even have to have a political motivation. You could just say, I want money.
yep. It's hold on a second. I'm trying to deal with something really quick here in the
It's always fun. Sometimes we get that, the chat bot that just goes on and on.
yeah,
Um, so while you're cleaning that, I know we've got questions. We'll answer questions at the end.
right.
If you're doing a
Yeah, sure.
non-technical, if you're doing another job and you can't attend each live session, we talk about you have to attend a certain number of sessions, and we hope that you could actually find a way to do that in person. When I say in person, of course, that means live, synchronously. The recordings are always available. And so, we'll try to work with you there. And if you say, well, there's an overlap between a live session versus, a work commitment, hopefully, if you can attend most of the session and then catch up on what you missed, there may be some flexibility there. It just depends how wide that word they say in business. It depends.
Yeah. So
All right.
let's
So
let's go
no more
on.
hamsters.
Yeah, no more hamsters. So the growth in the cybersecurity market is, I mean, it's phenomenal. The the growth, it's bigger than some state economies at almost $200 billion this year, but it's going to be close to 300 billion or over 300 billion by the end of the decade. Compound growth rate is projected at 11%. So it's a hugely growing field. That reflects the fact that every point of attack can be a mobile phone, can be the computers in your vehicles or other Internet of Things devices. So this is a hugely growing field, isn't it?
Oh, it is growing. Because every time we see another attack, the attacks are just getting larger. And every time the attack occurs, the attackers get more emboldened. And so, we've gone from things that were just a curiosity decades ago with the Morris internet worm. Oh, let's see what I can do. Oh, this is neat. And there was no harm in what they were doing. Now cybersecurity is just going to permeate. And of course, the acceleration of mobile, cloud, and Internet of Things. It's cybersecurity is just going to continue growing. And of course, then there's also legislation, which, and different parts of the country, different parts of the world have different laws. But then what happens is we're globalized.
Yep.
And so, like I said, I know folks that, they could be US based, but they have operations in India. They have operations in Europe. And so now if Europe has a cybersecurity law, they still have to follow it. So even if you say, oh, I'm an Indian, I don't have to follow this law. Well, it depends. Do you do business with another entity that does? And if so, now you're going to have those cybersecurity controls if you want to earn that business from that other organization.
Yeah. By the way, Sambhav, who cited another statistic he saw that said the revenue growth is actually closer to 18% a year. So that's pretty amazing. And move on. So commensurate with that, the salary for people in this field got a pretty high cap. I mean, these are numbers from Glassdoor India, and the average person working as a cybersecurity engineer in India is making 7 lakh per year. If you move up into management over time with additional skills and additional training, then you move into a career field where the average salary is 17 lakh. And those are pretty substantial salary potentials, especially when you look at the upper limits where you can go as your experience increases. So this is it's kind of parallel to what happens in the United States, isn't it? You're still on mute.
I do. Yeah. There's a lot of folks will say, oh, I see the starting salary. And every so often we'll have someone who say, well, do I have to take a pay cut to get into cybersecurity? I go, well, maybe temporarily, because if you've done, say, 10 years at a firm, you've gotten seniority, time, basically yearly bonuses, yearly raises in salary. And sometimes you may take a dip if you're going into cybersecurity. But what happens is, you end up within a year or two, you've totally you've leapfrogged over what you would have made because of the cybersecurity salaries, especially if you have you have this education behind you, as opposed to when I was starting out, we were in the sitting in our apartments and our basements and cobbling together things because cybersecurity was still up and coming. Now, yeah, it's employers are also looking for that, and so that's where that salary bump happens, because they say, oh, you've completed this program, and so now we recognize that that program is a well-rounded set, not just you've been near a computer for a period of time. And so the salary bumps do definitely occur. Absolutely.
Yep. So these are again looking at Glassdoor, and you look at the companies that are listed as currently hiring. These are some of the top names that come up in the listings. Tata, of course, Wipro, but also global consultancies like Ernst & Young, UI, Deloitte, Accenture, PwC. These kinds of companies are hiring because they're being hired by other companies to help secure their cybersecurity environments, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I know organizations that are using Tata, EY, Wipro, Deloitte, Accenture, PwC, and there's a few. There are others out there that definitely have operations around the world, and so you're going to find them hiring all around the world. I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, what is RKL? I think was one of them, and there's a few other audit and cybersecurity consulting firms that they're around the world. And so these are like the big six names that you're going to see all the time. And there's just a whole plethora of other organizations.
Yeah, I mean, these are just like the first six names I picked off, but if you go on to any of the job sites, you'll find that the number of cybersecurity jobs is plentiful. And they fall into these kinds of categories. I mean, you can engineer, you can be manager, analyst, you can specialize in particular areas. What are some of these? How do some of these roles differ from one another?
Good question. Oh, and someone said Capgemini. So many firms out there.
Yeah, yeah. Capgemini is definitely one of them.
Yeah, definitely a big one. The roles you see here. So someone earlier in the chat also said that they were a hacker, right? And in hacker, you'd be a red team, or you could be defending, and you'd be on the blue team. And the skills you can get, you could be a developer, you could be an analyst, you could be an analyst, security analyst, malware analyst, cloud security analyst. You could be a threat hunter. And that's right. We all start out somewhere, right? And a lot of times you end up becoming I ended up becoming a consultant where really I'm across the board. And sometimes I have to do a little bit of multiple roles. I have to, because it's like, oh, I can't just do this one thing, because what does the client want?
Yeah. And so the interesting thing is that you can start with a general background, move into a specific area of concentration, or stay general and move up into management or consulting. And you have lots of different career paths available to you. You need, however, to have a pretty well-rounded background. I mean, this a fair roster of the kinds of skills you need.
That's a fair, yeah. This is, looking at this list here, and I see some folks talking about hands-on skills. Yes, and we talk about that. We have the lab environment we'll talk about, but yeah, you have to understand the infrastructure, and that changes. Obviously, over the last decade, we've seen cloud technologies totally change, and our applications are 90% of them at this point are really mobile based or web based. We're not seeing a lot of traditional client server, but there's still some legacy stuff that's out there that still needs support. And of course, everything is encrypted or decrypted. There's this need for cryptographic methods to keep information secure and also accurate. Malware continues to be something that we see, and just the analysis and handling. I mean, that's one of the things that's not specifically called out here is incident response. Security operations center, SOC analyst. Yeah, that might be a role. And those change, right? Because you sit there and go, well, I know Microsoft Windows NT. And no, that doesn't work anymore. You have to keep up to date. Yep. The store's like, no. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Right. We're long past the days of NT and some of the other legacy systems.
Yeah. And of course, I'm a relic because I learned initially how to program using punch card decks in Fortran, but that's a whole different world. Back then, we weren't so worried about cybersecurity because you actually literally had to deliver a punch card deck to the computer to the computer operations center before you could run a program. But that's not the world we live in today. And today, you have to be aware of these things. What is the reason? I'm going to ask the audience members that you're all here because you're interested in potentially a career in cybersecurity, but why haven't you taken a program of this type so far? What is it that you haven't found that you feel you need? Oop. Did I just mess up the poll? No, I've got the poll still going. And I'll leave it open for another 10 seconds because you can answer multiple answers to this question. And I will close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, one, hit that submit button. And parallel to what was going on in the chat, you can see that half of the audience responded that they are worried they wouldn't get practical exposure. They wouldn't have hands-on experience after a program like this. And then 40% said that they're looking for a program that has a comprehensive curriculum that covers all of the skills that we just talked about. So let's discuss how this program helps you meet those needs. Come on. There we are. The Advanced Executive Program in Cybersecurity. It comes from IIIT Bangalore. They designed this program. I'll talk more about the institution in a bit, but they designed it to have that comprehensive curriculum looking for, because they work with a number of companies in industry. They get requests for specific skill sets, people who are being trained into different areas. So for cybersecurity, they've been logging the requests from their industry partners, and they came up with a learning path that meets those needs. It includes integrated case studies and hands-on projects because, as many of you correctly pointed out, you cannot learn this just from watching or reading. You have to learn it by doing. And that's one of the cool things, right, Bill, in terms of having live instructors who will take you through these exercises and having a lab environment that's right on your browser that you can do at your desktop or laptop.
You really have to. You can't just look through a series of PowerPoint slides. That doesn't get you enough. It absolutely doesn't. And you can't just read. You have to have some sort of a test lab to work with. Because you have to get your hands dirty. And I used to say, even when I'm leading a security program, even if my hands aren't on the keyboard every single day, I still need to know. And part of it so that I can vet out the vendors that I'm going to hire, so that I can vet what they're trying to sell me. And they'll say, oh, I'm going to do a vulnerability scan or a penetration test. Well, they led with the penetration test. They really only wanted to do a vulnerability scan. And you had to know the skills in order to basically to call them on it and ask them, well, what tools are you going to use? And then they give you a list of tools. You go, okay, nope, I know the list of tools. Nothing in there will do a penetration test.
Yeah.
So that's part of that. That's why still having a test lab. And it used to be that you would set up machines. You can't do that now. You could set up virtual machines. You can. Someone had said, can I download Kali onto Windows 10? You could download virtual machines. And but then, of course, the always one of my roles as an instructor, faculty member trainer, is to take what's there and try to make it easier to understand, and also to find the pitfalls that other people have fallen in, and help learners through that, to learn through those areas where it could be challenging, and to keep the momentum going forward. And also, of course, because it's an organized course, everyone you're staying on track time-wise. So it's not like the 3-year, I'm going to go take this test and it takes 3 years and you still haven't passed the test.
Yeah. And that's an important aspect, because it's something that can be done. Realistically, this program is scheduled for 6 months, and it's a part-time program. It's 10 hours a week. And that's by design to be able to get you the skills without interrupting your career. So how well does that work? Bill? You've done many cohorts in our programs. How well do people get trained within that period of time if they apply themselves?
They apply themselves, they are ready to go at the end of it. You're spending, a few hours of class time every week, and then you have a little bit of homework. But most of the batches that are the cohorts that we've had, these cohorts have been in the evening. So it's something there. You've got a day job, and then at night you can take the course. The course sessions are recorded, so if you want to go back and replay it, if something urgent came up and you had to step away for a few minutes, you can go back to it. But you're also not just listening to a recording, and so you can actually correspond, communicate back with your instructor live during the class, and also in between the classes. So you say something on a Saturday, and it's not a class day, but you could post a message to the community forum, and you can get support on that kind of question. So you're not losing the whole week.
Yeah, that's important. Some of our cohorts are set up for evening classes. Some are set up for weekend classes. You have the flexibility to choose so that you're able to adapt your program to your particular work schedule. So the end of the process, you're going to get certificates from Triple IT Bangalore, but you're also going to get a certificate for the virtual internship that is part of that program from NPCI, the National Payments Corporation of India. Because the final part of this program is a virtual internship there that allows you to demonstrate your skills in a real working environment. So you've got multiple projects that you've done along the way. You build a portfolio of those. Got the virtual internship. You get master classes with experts, instructors from Triple IT Bangalore as well as from NPCI. And you get a career assist service from Simplilearn, which is to help you get placed into that first job or to get you a better job. And let me mention the Institute, Triple IT Bangalore, established 1998. And as IT became that much more important in the Indian economy and Indian industry, Triple IT Bangalore took the forefront of that effort in research, education, innovation, supporting entrepreneurship. And as I mentioned, it partners a lot with the corporate sector so that they keep a very good finger on the pulse of what the needs of industry are, tailor their programs so that they're training people to fulfill those roles. And Triple IT Bangalore, of course, it's a well-known and well-respected institution. So having that certificate is something that people will notice. To be eligible for the program, you need a bachelor's degree with 50% marks or better. You need to have a minimum of 1 year of work experience. So for those of you who are still studying, you'll want to come back to this once you've been in the industry for a year, or if you are studying but you already have the work experience, you'll be able to join right after you earn your bachelor's degree. For the rest of you working qualified, got that 1 year of experience and bachelor's degree, you do need to have basic understanding of program concepts. So the programming doesn't have to be your main field or your main occupation, but you do have to have some exposure to that. And of course, Simplilearn offers courses that can help refresh your skills in that area. But let's talk about the curriculum and how the program prepares you. And we'll go into the learning environment. Are you ready to do that, Bill? Do you want to do that after?
I could show. Let's see. I could show the curriculum and the virtual classroom, and I have a lab started up that I can do.
Let's take us through that.
Sure. So let me my share button here. Oh, okay. Yes, I want to continue.
Yes, you do.
Yep. Okay. So, all right. So what I did, I just, as far as to give you an idea of what this program looks like, I was looking to see here where we were going here. Is this all right? Yep. Okay. Right. So usually what you would see, this is a similar program that Simplilearn has partnered with another institution to offer a similar program, and you work through these courses here, and you'll notice it'll be like 100% because you've completed these courses. And if I say, okay, if I want to go look at self-learning in this particular course, uh, so you can go back, you can attend the live classes. And you can notice here that you can listen to the recordings. If you've missed something or you want to go back and review it, you can always do that. To get these certificates, you get actually with this particular program, there are actually a series of certificates that you would go through. And then at the end, you get one for the overall program. But it's based on, did you attend the program? There's some material in here, self-paced learning that you could also watch as well. So you're getting that experience two different ways. Now, as far as the labs, the practice labs here, those actually I lost, but I have over here starting up another one. And basically what you would be looking at here would be you have a series of labs, and right now it's taking a moment for this to fire up, the lab, but like this particular course has Kali and Windows 2016. So you're attending classes, and then when you look at the course material, there'll be specific hands-on activities, and the lab environment is right out here, which means you don't have to support it. And if you want to, you could click the reset button, and it would just reset that. So you have that ability to access. I'm waiting for it to start up. It's going to take it a moment, but what's great is it'll come up eventually. So what was the other thing I was looking at here? And I have to move my mouse away. Or I could just exit out of the class. I'll just exit out of the class here. You'll notice that you have access to a community forum. And what would happen is, for instance, that cohort would be specific to your group. And so you have a community forum that's just your group, and you can post the questions and queries in the community forum. As Stuart mentioned, we have other courses that, in this program, there were some optional courses that were available. This is the whole track that you would go through, and your progress towards completing that particular program. And on my screen just changed there live because literally, yes, it is now logging into, that is Kali. And I did not have to actually install Kali on my system. All right, it is right there. All right. And I could go out here and I could, launch browser. I could launch a whole set of applications in this pre-configured environment. So this makes it easy to learn your material because you're going through the self-paced learning, you're going through the live classes, and you have access to an actual Kali Linux machine up in the cloud. If something goes wrong, you could just have it reset or create a help ticket and have it reset. So there's a little bit of lag there. I apparently, it was starting up. I was a little impatient, but there we go. We have this Kali Linux that's up and running, ready to go, and the labs will walk you through what to do inside. You have directions for the labs that then you come into the lab environment and you can complete your course exercises. So it's all paired together.
And you don't have to download any of this to your system. It's being accessed through your browser to the virtual lab environment in the cloud.
Yep. It's all up on the cloud. It's very easy to go, in the, when you're in one of these courses here, right? I just click on this link and you're going to see, like over on the left-hand side, you're just going to see that practice lab. You just click on that and it will take you into that lab.
Yep. You also see the fact that there's, in this course, self-learning modules and live class modules. Typical of the courses, you have resources that you can use that are pre-recorded videos or ebooks or PowerPoint presentations that will take you through um, some of the material you want to review before your live class. And you've got your live class environment, of course, where the instructor will take you through that material. And then you've got your practice labs and other forms of doing the hands-on work. And finally, as you can see, the assessment tab there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you. I forgot about that. You'll go into the lab environment, you'll complete an exercise. And like if I click on this, right? Well, I already passed the project. Okay. So I'd had to find a project that I didn't complete. But basically, actually, here you see the description down below. In this case, what they were talking about was here's the project. Use WebGoat to test web vulnerability, web applications for vulnerabilities and perform SQL injection attack. And so so they'll give you a scenario, and then you'll go and do that activity, and you'll upload the proof that you did what was asked, and someone, it's pass or fail. And so what would happen is someone would complete it, and then it actually gets reviewed. You get feedback back on that to successfully clear that hurdle or that checkpoint, if you will. It's basically a competency checkpoint. So it's not just, you're not just listening to videos, you're not just listening to an instructor, you're not on your own, and you're getting these regular checkpoints through the materials.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go back to, and as you mentioned, the community. You have the ability to start a thread or join the thread for your particular course that you're in, particular group that you're in, batch, and pose questions to your peers, to your instructors, get that type of thing. But you also have 24/7 help support.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And actually up here, here's the community link right here up in the upper right hand corner. And up here is our help. And so you could do the help, and there's some suggested tips already here. If you have questions about certificates, live classes, your profile, the program, self-paced learning materials, etc. And I don't know if it's using Chat GPT yet, but there's a live chat with someone there. And so a lot of these are, it's a question about how do I access a class? I'm having technical issues, how do I unlock my certificate? We have that chat bot for that, or not these chat people.
It's a combination because a lot of what you needed to get done, you can get done instantly through the chatbot. But if it's something beyond the ability for the AI chatbot to deal with, we have live 24/7 help desk. So,
Mhm.
so you're able to move to a live person and get that issue resolved. So,
Yep. And the community would be maybe I have a question about how do I use the DD command in Linux?
yeah.
And and so that would be a form that you can use, that community forum, to get those questions answered. So you're not waiting the full week. And we try to, all the sessions that I'm part of, we try to keep them very interactive.
Okay. So I think I'll move back to our main presentation if that's all right with you.
Yep.
Here we go. So as we saw in the demo here, that there's a specific sequence that we go through in this curriculum to take you in through enterprise information security, then to application and web security, ransomware malware analysis, and then ethical hacking and penetration testing, um, and then the virtual internship. So this kind of takes you in a logical sequence, right, Bill? From one layer to the next.
Well, yeah, everything builds from the orientation session on up. It's building your skill set. It's getting, the building blocks, getting the foundation ready. And so by the time you get to that virtual internship, you're able to actually do the work. And a lot of times you actually could take some of these course end projects that we just showed, and maybe that would go into a portfolio when it comes time when you're looking for work. And still, even though I have years of experience, I'll be asked, "Oh, can you give me a sample of your writing? Can you give me a sample of XYZ report?" And so that's one of the other things you're getting out of this as you're completing the work. Save that off to the side, because now that's part of your portfolio. That, if someone says, "Can you give me a sample of X?" You have it.
Um, you also have the access to the master classes. You can train for your CCSP exam, and you can take classes on security governance. I'm sorry, for a higher level view. So those are optional, but they are no additional cost included in the program. So you will use in the virtual labs a number of different tools. You saw an example, for example, using Kali Linux, and an assignment that required you to use WebGoat in a particular exercise. You'll get these types of things across the board. Each of these tools that you see here and many more that you'll be using in specific assignments. So that's really the best way to become proficient at these.
Stuart, I hate to interrupt you here. I don't have the ability to uh, export people from chat.
Okay, let me do
Yeah.
that.
So I could talk to the tools briefly here. The tools, and actually, I think we just showed you Kali in the lab, which is really, it's almost like a Swiss Army knife of tool sets. Because it's a Linux distribution. Instead of just regular Ubuntu, it has all these hacking tools, ethical hacking tools that are preloaded into it. The others, someone earlier had mentioned Parrot, Black Arch. Kali Linux is sort of the go-to standard. And then once you know how to do things in Kali Linux, then you could take your knowledge set and you could then go work with another distribution if you wanted to. The OpenVAS and Nessus vulnerability scanners, that every organization should be running vulnerability scans to know what they have, because it's all too often somebody's just going rogue and setting up a machine, and they plug it in and it's running, but then no one knows what's on it. No one knows what vulnerabilities that someone could come in and exploit to get access.
Okay, let's move on. So the virtual internship, very important because it allows you to great partnership with NPCI, and it allows you to demonstrate your skills in a real working environment. And that gives you something that you'll be able to show off, not only because of the certificate, but because of the portfolio of work that you do. As Bill explained, having the real world examples, having that practical hands-on experience, something that everybody said was important to them. And this is a program that'll do that for you. The program also gives you uh, a kind of an envelope or a cocoon of support. We have a program manager who interacts from the Simplilearn side with IT Bangalore, make sure that we're delivering the program according to their specifications. You have a manager that manages the success of all the learners who join at the same time in the same cohort. You have instructors, of course, who are helping you get through each of the modules. And then learning teams and peers among the people that you are studying with. And of course, the curriculum and resources are another part of that. Let me take a look. We have a couple of just disruptive things going on.
Yeah, I was going to say hackers, but they're really just disruptors today.
Yeah.
It's basically the Simplilearn community supports you. Instructors like myself, uh, the program manager, the cohort manager, and the curriculum is designed to work you through it and to get you the right skills you need at the right time as you're working your way through, and your own learning teams and your peers as you go through the program.
Okay.
So you're not
All
on
right.
your own.
Good. So these are the people who you report to in the program. Professor Sridhar, Professor Vivek, Professor Chandrasekhar, who are all, um, as I said, with Triple IT Bangalore, who all contribute from their different aspects into the cybersecurity curriculum and the design of the program for educational effectiveness. So these are the people to whom we report at Simplilearn, and these are the people who put their name and reputation behind your certificate. Let's talk a little bit about learner outcomes. These are some of the testimonials you'll see. If you go to our website and see the program page, Achud, um, Dr. Dursami, and Akash, um, it's notable that Akash was able to move up in his career to a 40% salary hike, which is a pretty good um, outcome from the program. And then Dr. Dursami is talking about the value of the instruction way that it was structured so that he was able to absorb the material well. Even though he has his doctorate, found that this was a useful way to upskill. So this is a really great, uh, I think, assembly of testimonials, but we hope that we can add yours to the mix in the future. Have you had similar kinds of experience with people you've taught, Bill?
Whenever we go through these programs, we see some people will come into the program and they've got a skill set already. They've got some beginning skill sets, but then we also see people who have no or very little experience. And by the time we get to the end, if you put in the time, if you do all that work, you do those competency checkpoints, you do those mini projects as you're going through the program. By the time you get to the end of it, you're able to do everything that program wanted you to do. Absolutely. The curriculum itself is designed so that you can get to that steps. And then of course, you've got your learning, your peers, your learning teams, and your instructors to try to help you work through that issue. And try to, if you've got, sometimes there are bumps in the road, but that's okay. Because you don't necessarily want to stay put either. Right. That would be the comfortable option, but it would mean you wouldn't be doing what you want to do. It, you know, so that you take that extra effort, and yes, by the time people are done with the program, they can do everything that the program was designed for them to do, and they can go out and get those roles, and either get a promotion and get a promotion within their firm or organization, or go somewhere else. Right. Salary ranges vary, but I've never heard anyone say no. I've gone backwards, or it's always been. I'm glad I did that.
Exactly. So we had a question about job placement services. Simplilearn offers job assist services, which is not job placement. It's a set of services that'll help you find a job. It's for people who join the program from India or have the right to work in India, because it's focused on jobs in India. And this is access to the IIM Jobs job portal for 6 months after you complete the program at the premium level, but it also includes resume review and rewrite so that you have a chance to work with a writer who will take you through a couple of rounds of improving your resume so that it's better adapted to passing through the AI filters that initially deal with resumes these days, and also remains attractive to the humans who will eventually see that resume. And then one-on-one interview prep where you get to work directly with um, individual interview preparers who will take you through the different kinds of interviews you have to do, from phone screens to technical job interviews, looking at the kinds of questions you'll be asked about your cybersecurity skills, and then how to deal with the cultural fit and managerial level interviews that look at your work ethic and other aspects of your personality. So those are all different aspects. These are all invaluable ways that we can help you find that next job. And again, it's not job placement, but it is a set of services that you can access as you need them for the 6 months after you complete the program. And based on what we've told you today, are you interested in joining this program? And go ahead and answer. Is this program just for Indians? This program is designed for learners in India, but it is open to people around the world. See that the pricing is in Indian rupees. Class times are set mainly for an Indian audience, but again, it is open to people across the globe. And I'll end the poll here. 80% of our audience said that they are interested. This is where I'll share with it. I'm going to change over the chat because we're going to be going to questions and answers. And so we want you to direct your chat to just Bill and me. There we go. So we're going to be joining questions and answers momentarily after I share with you the process for getting enrolled. Yeah. There we go. Enrollment steps. Oops. The program fees are $1,54,999. You can EMI finance that at $5,275 per month. That's very low interest rate, not quite zero yet. But our bonus offer for attending this is you can take 10% off of that, or 15,000 rupee discount for being here today. That's our gift to you, our thank you for joining the next cohort. You join the cohort by doing 3 simple steps. The first step is to submit to us an application at askus@simplylearn.net, and then we will review that. We'll be asking you for information about your educational background, proof of your bachelor's degree. We'll be asking for proof of your work experience, and do a simple assessment test of your programming aptitude. And from that, we'll offer you admission if you qualify. And I just put the email into the chat. Our next cohort starts with classes in July, so you'll want to get involved quickly because next week is the welcome session for that cohort. And we do have a limited number of spaces. Class sizes, we have to limit the class sizes to about, or cohort sizes to about 25 to 30 people. Is that correct, Bill? In order to make sure that you have attention time, you and your fellow instructors?
Yeah, that number's about right. If it gets we can't have it get too large because then we can't give the attention if someone has a question. Oh, and the people who understand the material are being held back. So the cohort you go together, right? You're learning together, and so that's where that size is, like you just mentioned, that 25 to 30 max, because we want to make sure that everyone can get through the material at the pace, not fall behind. It is a team. It's like a sporting event. It's a team. We're all going to get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we recommend that if this is of interest to you, to do it as soon as you can. And I'm going to ask that very question from the audience, which is, how soon are you interested in doing this? Are you looking at the July classes, or are you looking further down the road? I know that some of you are still studying for a degree, so you won't be eligible for the program for a little bit. But for those of you who are, uh, what's the timing that you have in mind? And I'll close this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so about 50% of our audience would like to do this either in July, August, September timeframe. And so we encourage you to email us at askus@simplylearn.net right away. But we also encourage everyone else to do that, because that way we can keep you in touch and ask you about other needs you may have, share with you the future cohorts, and answer any questions that you might still have outstanding. So let me move on and go to the Q&A. At this point, we're going to stop sharing the screen, and that way you'll be able to talk to me and Bill directly. Okay, so let me take a look at what we have in terms of questions in the Q&A, and then we'll take a look through the chat to see if there are any there. You already addressed the question from Shubham, who asked about what happens if you can't get to every class live. How long is the program? 6 months. How to get a job from cybersecurity. And again, this is where the job assist program comes in. How to download Kali Linux from Windows 10. So Bill, you don't really have to download Kali Linux to your machine to do this program, unless you really want to. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, we talk about it that, you could do virtual machine, you could put Kali Linux on your machine, but the beauty of the lab is that it's pre-set up environment. It's, yes, it took a few minutes for it to load, but once it loads, it's right there and it's ready to go with all the activities, all the tools, and so forth.
Yep. And any cloud exercises that you do, that the access to the cloud services are included in the course. So benefits of the course, of course, we've talked about that, but the benefits are that you're going to learn a comprehensive set of cybersecurity skills with hands-on experience and expert instruction live. So that makes it very different from many other avenues of learning out there. We had someone asking what to do after they complete their secondary school before they go to university and get into cybersecurity. This particular course does require that you have an undergraduate degree. You might contact us at askus@simplylearn.net to find out what other types of programs or courses we have that you can take without being at that level yet. Would you get a certificate of this webinar? We will send out a certificate of attendance for this webinar to people who are here for more than 20 minutes today. And sorry about the various spammers. I got that as a question here. Is there any age limit in cybersecurity? That's an interesting question, Bill. Is there any age beyond which you just can't handle it?
I think the only age limit is set by the individual. There are people who I know who have worked their whole life and then they basically went into a second career, or basically they worked for an employer. They got to the point of collecting retirement, and then they said, okay, great, now I'm going to keep working for someone else. And so there's really no age limit, and there's no lower limit either. And the point earlier, yes, the program, you do need to have some undergraduate college experience or university experience, because in university they'll teach you how to write. And in cybersecurity, we do have to learn how to write reports. So that's but there's no reason that it needs to be in a cybersecurity program. It could just be part of your university.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, somebody asked if you could name drop some of the organizations you've worked for. Are you allowed to do that?
Am I allowed to do that? I think some of the best things I've done, like actually with Simplilearn years ago, we, I believe I taught a course overseas for Simplilearn, and literally it was on an army base.
Yeah.
We've had some fun with NCIS, not the TV show.
Yep.
So Visa has, I'm trying to think who else has been in that I'm like, wow, who would have thought about that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of large institutions. And the other ones I can't really name. I always have to protect the names.
Right.
Because if I say, well, XYZ company had a situation where they had this breach or they had this weakness, no, I can't do that because I signed an NDA. I'm not allowed to say.
Exactly. Well, I won't put you on the spot any longer. We have someone, Huda says they're getting into a BTech cybersecurity, and is a degree in cybersecurity the good path? This program a good path? Or do they complement each other? Oh, you muted yourself for some reason.
The latter answer, because a lot of times when you get a degree, like a college degree, university degree, like I said, you have to take all those general education, which yes, you need to know math. Yes, you need to know English and writing, and you need to learn more about the world sometimes because it helps you fit in with industry a bit better because you have an understanding of the world and just sort of this common base of knowledge. Now, as far as cybersecurity, do you need a cybersecurity specific university degree? No, you don't. And that's where the certificate plus your university degree then complement each other.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing your efforts, this 6-month program is probably going to be a lot less expensive than a standard university. It's probably going to be a lot more attainable than a university program.
And it's faster than a 4-year degree or a 2 years master's degree.
Exactly. Yes.
Somebody who's pursuing the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate. Is that sufficient for them to qualify for an entry-level job? Oop.
I have to look in. I have to look at that a little bit more. One of the things I saw recently, and they supposedly the Google was going to have this thing and it was going to be free. And I saw recently someone said, well, it's not really free. It was like, wait a minute. I can sign up for the program, but I can't do anything in the program unless I pay. Oh. And that's one of the things sometimes we have to be careful of. Even AWS, Amazon, I'm doing some of their trainings right now. And I'm talking with someone and I'm saying, well, I'm going to avail myself of all the stuff that's free before I sign up for their subscriptions that they have. No, because I'll take all the free stuff I can, but the free stuff's only going to get you so far. And I think that's what we're going to. Then the question is, how far do you get before the pop-up window comes up and says, "Oh, time to pay"? Here, the cost of the program, what it is, and that the curriculum has already been established. So you're not cherry picking, and that's the other. If you're trying to cherry pick courses, sometimes you may not. It's harder to get that cohesive unit that makes sense. And this cohort, you're going to go together as one group. It's all going to be lined out. The lab environment's already there. You're not going to find the miscellaneous upcharges along the way. You pay for the lab environment, you pay for the course, you pay for the program. It's all included. The placement assistance, the resume rewrites, which, oh yes, absolutely. You want someone who's written resumes to get you past that HR gateway. Yep. And that's where this is all inclusive, from point A to point B.
Yeah. Plus the fact that you'll have live instructors who are taking you through the material rather than just sitting there staring at the screen and trying to figure it out on your own. So some people learn that way, but many people do not. And I've always, for example, been one who benefits from that live instruction. Is cybersecurity difficult to learn?
There's a saying, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, one bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time. Yep, that's the answer there. Yeah, you're not going to learn it overnight, and we're not going to learn it. We're not done either. I mean, I'm still learning things all the time.
Yep. The certificate is recognized worldwide because Triple IT Bangalore has a worldwide reputation. Does the course include CCSP certification? It does include an elective that will train you, prepare you for CCSP certification. Of course, the actual exam is something that you have to take from that body, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the CCSP is an elective that you can take. The actual exam voucher that you have to pay for to
Hmm.
sit for the exam is not included. ISC squared is the organization behind the CCSP, and they have, you have to sign up for the exam. If you reschedule the exam, there's a fee for that. Once you pass the exam, there's a fee to renew it periodically. So that's something, that's ISC squared, that's their own exam. But the CCSP curriculum, it's a course that to learn the material, that's one of the electives in this program.
Vishal asks if you can get a job abroad from this type of certification, and you in the world we live in today, the wonderful thing is that you can get a job with a multinational corporation without ever leaving home, because we can all work remotely and be part of large organizations. So the names I showed earlier about PwC, Accenture, Wipro, um, you can see that they're multinational corporations, operate in many different companies. Some are based in India, some are based abroad, and all of them are recruiting cybersecurity professionals in India. Do you need programming language expertise? How much of a programming background should people have built to succeed here?
Um, if you're going to specialize in application security, then you're going to want to spend more time, uh, in coding and software development courses. But you have to, and what this program does, that's the way it's been aligned, is you learn what you need to learn for the majority of the cybersecurity roles. And then, and a lot of times, especially if you're changing into cybersecurity, if this is a change for you, you're sometimes they'll put you at a lower level job, but then once you're in that lower level job, they'll have all sorts of training avenues, and you'll find out where to specialize before you spend all the time specializing. Like if you say, oh, I know Rust, or I know Python, or I know Go or TypeScript, well, what if they don't use that? And so it's always good to get the good base established. And then when you find an organization that you're working for, then you find out what they want you to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Python's a safe bet. And yes, we talk about Python because it's in the Kali Linux and it's in the red team exercises.
Yep.
So there's and a little bit in the blue team also, because scripting makes your life as a defender easier.
Yeah. It's not necessarily that you come in with advanced skills in Python programming, because you will be trained along the way to what you know. But you do need to understand the principles of how
Logic.
programs and algorithms, that type of thing, work. Duration of the program is 6 months, of course. Interesting question. What's the difference between IITs and triple ITs? And my understanding, the IITs, Indian Institutes of Technology, were founded starting in the 19th century. There are quite a number of them. They began with things like mechanical engineering, moved on to electrical engineering, all the different types of technology, and more recently, many of them are in even management sciences as well as computer sciences and information technology. Whereas Triple IT Bangalore was founded specifically to address the emerging field of information technology. So it has a more detailed focus, narrow focus. Um, what is the difference between cybersecurity expert program and the advanced one we're presenting? So you would want to look at the different syllabus documents and look at the different lists of courses and an emphasis. Studying electronic engineering, it may well be a good move to pivot or add to your skill set cybersecurity, because both in electronic engineering and in electrical engineering, you have many emerging cyber threats. You're in electronic engineering, you're looking at digital systems, for example. That's obviously a cyber threat area, but if you're looking at power engineering, for example, and utilities, that's a huge problem of infrastructure protection. So,
Yeah. No, electronic engineering, the Internet of Things, all the mobile technologies, and then you morph or merge. You put on top of that the cybersecurity, because that actually is one of the biggest vulnerabilities that we see. Is someone created a great widget, but security was job number 53.
and we have Gunda, who says I'm 17, interested in cybersecurity. Where would somebody like that start?
Well, okay, so, and I think I see the same message a few times, sort
Yep.
of, so if you're 17, then I'm trying to think that, have you passed the 12th grade, or 12th grade, grade 12, and you know the a program like this, we do ask that you have that college or university experience. Their Simplilearn has other certification courses that you could take, which would be standalone. And or if you think, hey, I'm already in university, and I think um, I'm, I want to get into, so I don't know what level this person is at, because there are some 17-year-olds who are advanced in their degree program. So I don't want to be too general there.
Yeah, you don't want to necessarily make that assumption. The most recent hire for SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, is a 14-year-old programmer who just
Yeah.
finished his degree. So
Yeah, so I mean, it's the key thing is, if you finish your degree, either finish the degree or be very close to finishing your degree, right? But one of those, every so often I'll see someone that says, "Oh, well, I'm completing it within the next 2 or 3 months." Oh, well, okay, yes, this
yeah,
makes
that's
sense to
right.
look at, because basically by the time you pick a cohort, you'll be finished your degree.
Yep.
Yeah, otherwise, if you're not in university yet, you could look at some certifications that are out there. Maybe you look at that Google Cloud certification. I tend to like the CompTIA certifications a lot for entry level roles. Get some experience. Maybe your employer will reimburse you for your university studies, and then you can come back to a program like this.
So with that, let's go on and finish out our program today. For those of you who are interested in joining this program, do you need us to reach out to you at this point directly? And if so, answer yes to this question, which is coming up in the poll here. And we'll contact you. One of our lending consultants will reach out to you. This open for a bit. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And About 2/3 of the people responding said that they're interested in having someone reach out, so we will do that. And I want to put into the chat right now for you the email address one last time, but also the URL for our program page so you can take a look, see some of the other information about the program, get some of those details, and you'll also through that page be able to contact us, contact our learning consultants. But that's in the chat for everyone. That I want to say thank you. And the QR code will also take you to our program page. Ask us at simplylearn.net if you want to type that in, but that's also in the chat. And I want to thank Bill Bailey for being so very generous with his time and knowledge today. Really appreciate it, Bill.
Well, thank you, Stuart. Pleasure, as always.
And I want to thank everyone who joined us from India and other parts of the globe. And we hope that we can welcome you into the learning community with Triple IT Bangalore and Simplilearn. With that, we're concluding our webinar for today. Thank you so much.